Hello everybody, it's time once again for another still frame review, and this time, by suggestion of my old friend who is old Jason, he wants me to review the 1993 movie Super Mario Bros., the very first movie to ever be adapted from a video game. In this version of events, Mario and Luigi are two Italian-American plumber brothers who live in New York City. Mario being the much older brother and acts more like a father figure to Luigi. Luigi falls in love with Daisy, an NYU student who is part of an archaeological dig near the Brooklyn Bridge. It just so happens that that is where the meteor that supposedly killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago landed, and when it hit, it actually created a separate dimension where all the dinosaurs still survived and they also evolved into human-like creatures. There, the world is mostly desert with one small city called Dino Hatton, ruled by King Koopa, who wants to merge the two worlds together and become ruler of both. However, he needs one small fragment of the meteorite, which was given to the royal family and passed down to their long-lost daughter. So he sends his two cousins, Iggy and Spike, to kidnap the princess wherever she may be in New York. After kidnapping several women, they finally come across Daisy, who, after hatching from an egg in an orphanage 20 years ago, really is the long-lost princess of the dinosaur kingdom, kidnaps her, and takes her to King Koopa. However, they lose the meteorite piece, and it's up to the Mario brothers to find Daisy, rescue her, and get the meteorite piece. However, they are up against ferocious odds as King Koopa is quite the dictator, and he even has this de-evolving machine that turns people back into dinosaur-human hybrids, which he calls Goombas. And he has de-evolved Daisy's father, the king, way back into this fungus, which is spreading all throughout the city, helping the Mario brothers along the way, giving them items and things. Eventually, the Mario brothers team up with Koopa's cousins, Iggy and Spike, to find the meteorite piece and storm the castle to save Princess Daisy. So you can obviously tell this is a little bit different from the video games. Like, almost all of it, but I'm actually not mad at that part. I'm not really that concerned about how far off a movie is from its adapted source material. As long as it's a good movie, I'm happy. Oftentimes we think of really bad adaptations being ones that are unfaithful, such as Percy Jackson or Artemis Fowl. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you can get excellent movies that are barely recognizable from the original source material, such as Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So all this movie needs to be is good. It does not have to be faithful to the video games. This movie is not good. Okay, but it's actually not terrible either. I kind of like this idea of having Mario and Luigi being these two Italian-American brothers, and I do like their dynamic of Mario being the older, wiser father figure while Luigi's the young, impetuous kid. You don't really get that from the video games, but you also don't get a whole lot of relationship from the video games. This adds something fun, and some of the other adaptation choices are actually kind of ingenious, like how Daisy's father, the fungus, is spreading throughout the kingdom and giving the Mario brothers these items. It kind of answers the questions, wait, why are all these gift boxes throughout the Mario games full of items? Well, if it's the Mushroom Kingdom, maybe the mushrooms are all connected throughout the world, and it's this sentient world that is actually helping Mario along and giving him these gifts. That's kind of really clever. At the base of it, it's a pretty standard rescue the princess plot, but it's still enjoyable. And this movie has some very creative ideas, and I got some genuine laughs out of it.
Everybody's got tap water!
It could have been a lot funnier. However, it really feels like the directors did not quite have in mind what the writers did. So some of the jokes just don't land because the directors were trying to make it funny one way when really it was written to be funny in a different way.
0 for 5, 0 for 5. What percent is that? I don't know. Let me think. I don't know, but it's not good.
And this makes sense because this movie went through so many rewrites in the development process. There are only 3 writers credited, but there were more involved in the project, and everybody, the creatives and the executives, had these different ideas about what the movie should be. Some wanted it to be this buddy road adventure, some wanted it to be this high concept sci-fi thing, some wanted it to be this dark adult themed movie, some wanted it to be this light kids movie. In fact, before Disney signed on to help distribute the picture, it was originally much more adult themed. The dance club was a very different kind of club in the original edit. There was no one guiding voice on what people should do. In fact, everybody was so not on the same page. Bob Hoskins, who plays Mario, originally had no idea that the movie was based on a video game. It wasn't until his son asked him, "Hey, Dad, what you working on?" And he told him, he was like, "Dad, that's a video game. You're making the first video game movie." Since everyone was not on the same page, it results in this very inconsistent tone throughout. Sometimes the movie is goofy, sometimes it's serious. Sometimes it's very satirical and self-aware, and other times it takes itself way too seriously. Another complaint I have about the movie is that it's very unpleasant to look at. It has that very 80s murky, dark, gross feel, and while the production design was very creative, it sometimes looks way too small because the directors were so proud of it they wanted to show the whole set in one shot, and once you show the whole set in one shot, you can't really show much else. And while I am impressed with the costume and makeup design on these hideous dinosaur creatures, I really don't want to be looking at that for 2 hours. It would be nice to see something a little more pleasant once in a while. But I think the biggest problem with the movie is that there's just no real point to it. It has nothing to say. Stuff just happens. No one is going to want to watch a movie to see stuff happen. You can see stuff happen in anything, not just a movie. The whole point of seeing a story play out on screen is you're supposed to learn something, walk away with something, thinking things you weren't thinking about before. I'm not saying this movie has to be some sort of artsy think piece, but it does at least need to have a point to it, not just blowing stuff up to blow stuff up. Now, I'd heard a lot about this movie before I ever saw it, and I'd heard it was like the worst, most awful video game adaptation ever. You'd never ever want to see this movie, but after watching it, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not good either. So I'm gonna give it that middle of the road meh grade of D for Dino Hatton. If you're into weird late 80s, early 90s type movies, this could be for you. It's not really for me, but I do appreciate what they were trying to do. Now I'm curious about the animated Mario film coming out next year. I'm guessing it'll probably be good because this sets the bar kinda low. However, in the back of my mind, I will be comparing Chris Pratt's performance to Bob Hoskins, so we'll have to wait and see. But those were my thoughts on the 1993 movie Super Mario Bros. Let me know what you thought of the movie, and let me know of any other movies or shows you'd like me to review. That's it for now. I'm Josef Junek. See you later.